Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. Look, in this explainer, we're going to dive into something that literally changes the game when it comes to speaking a new language. We are going to gamify the whole process of learning to speak English confidently. So instead of thinking of your English journey as, some boring textbook exercise, think of it like an epic video game. You're acquiring new skills, unlocking new areas, and ultimately, mastering the art of conversation. All right, let's jump right in. So let me ask you, do you ever just freeze up when you're trying to ask a question in English? If you're not in your head right now, seriously, you are not alone. It is so incredibly common. You might know exactly how to answer a question, right? But the second you have to actually formulate one yourself, your mind just goes completely blank. You're probably terrified your question is going to sound wrong or that people just won't understand you. Well, for today, I want you to look at that anxiety as the ultimate boss in our video game. And together, we're going to defeat it. Because here is the liberating truth of it all. Asking questions is the absolute key to real, genuine conversations. It's the ultimate tool that shifts you from just being a passive listener sitting on the sidelines to an active, engaged participant. Think about it. Questions are literally your primary tool for human connection. When you learn how to ask questions naturally, you don't just survive in a new language, you absolutely thrive. You connect, and you actually start leading the interaction. Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Overcoming question fear. 2. Level 1, everyday basics. 3. Level 2, real conversations. 4. Level 3, deep discussions. And finally, number 5, your daily question mission. All right, let's dive right into section 1, overcoming question fear. Before we can even touch on the vocabulary, we really have to clear this psychological hurdle that's holding us back. The real problem for so many learners actually isn't the grammar at all. They completely know how to answer, but it's the physical, mechanical act of asking that creates this massive mental freeze. It's that paralyzing fear of sounding incorrect, or worse, getting that awkward blank stare in return. So what's our main weapon against this boss? Curiosity. It really is that simple. When you focus on genuinely wanting to know the answer, when your natural curiosity about the other person completely outweighs your self-consciousness, that fear just begins to melt away. If you speak with curiosity, the confidence is absolutely going to follow. Okay, let's move on to our first actionable tier. Section 2, Level 1, Everyday Basics. Consider this your A1 to A2 beginner stage. Think of that as your absolute survival mode in the game. In survival mode, you're relying on basic information and everyday utility. You just need to know things like what is your name or where are you from, just as much as you desperately need to ask, where is the bathroom, or how much is this? Now, these aren't meant for some deep philosophical debate, right? They are simply the essential tools you need in your inventory just to navigate a new environment and gather the basic facts. Expanding on that basic inventory, you're also going to need simple yes or no questions. Things like, do you speak English? Or is the store open? These are your primary building blocks for gathering quick, binary information. And when you pair those with polite requests like, could you help me please, or can I have a glass of water, boom, you have officially survived the early game. You've got the tools to interact gracefully and actually get what you need. Now let's level up and see how this all builds. Section 3, Level 2, Real Conversations. This is the B1 intermediate tier. We are officially stepping out of basic survival mode and into the wonderful world of actually building relationships. As we make this transition, we start asking about the other person. You start asking about their preferences. What kind of music do you like? Or do you prefer to stay home or go out? You ask about future plans too, like, what are you doing this weekend? Or what time should we meet? By asking these slightly longer, more natural questions, you're signaling to the other person that you actually want to get to know them. You're turning a basic transaction into a real conversation. Level 2 also unlocks some specialized zones for us, like work and school vocabulary. Things like, when is the deadline? But crucially, and this is a big one, it unlocks empathy. By asking health and feeling questions like, how are you feeling today? Or did you sleep well last night? You're expressing genuine care for someone else's well-being. And let me tell you, these are the exact types of questions that cement friendships and build real trust, even in professional environments. And once you've built that trust, well, you unlock the highest tier. Section 4, Level 3, Deep Discussions. Welcome to the B2 Upper Intermediate Zone. If this were a role-playing game, this is exactly where you fully max out your charisma skill tree. Let's actually slow down for a second and look at the sophistication of this level. Look at the evolution of your skills here. Back at level 1 survival, you asked very directly, where is the station? It works, right? It gets the job done. But now at level 3 mastery, you ask, could you tell me where the station is? We call this polite padding. Adding these indirect, softer openings really demonstrates an advanced grasp of social nuance. It sounds way more native, a lot more polite, and just incredibly sophisticated. And here is the absolute secret ingredient to that native-like flow we all want. Follow-up questions. When someone tells you a story, instead of just nodding and saying, okay, you hit them with a follow-up. Oh, really? What happened next? Or, why do you think that is? Or, how did that make you feel? These questions prove that you are actually listening. They make the native speaker feel truly heard, and honestly, they keep the conversation flowing so organically that people will literally forget you aren't speaking your first language. Now, level 3 also requires you to handle complex discussions without getting totally lost. This is where clarification questions come in. Saying things like, just to be clear, are you saying that? Or could you elaborate on that point? Is absolutely vital. They prevent misunderstandings and they prove you're actively engaged in complex topics. Pair that with asking for opinions, like, what is your take on this issue? And you are suddenly navigating intense boardroom discussions or deep late-night chats with total ease. Finally, level 3 unlocks the imagination with hypothetical and conditional questions. What would you do if you won the lottery? Or if you could live anywhere, where would you choose? These questions are basically the ultimate tool for limitless conversations. They move you completely out of day-to-day reality and into the realm of shared dreams, humor, and pure creativity. When you can ask and answer these confidently, you have truly, completely mastered the game of English conversation. So, we've explored the entire map from survival all the way to mastery. But knowledge without action is really just trivia, right? So let's get to section 5, your daily question mission. It is time to face the final boss of our explainer today. We are transitioning from theory straight into real-world application. This is your personal call to action. Step 1. Pick just one single new question you learned from this explainer today. Step 2. Ask it. Go ask a coworker, ask a friend, or honestly, just practice it out loud to yourself in the mirror. And step 3, keep asking. The more you ask, the less afraid you're going to become. Remember, the whole goal here is to speak without fear, armed entirely with your own genuine curiosity. I'm going to leave you with this final, slightly provocative thought. What question do you want to ask someone today? Don't sit around waiting for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. Step out of your comfort zone, use the tools you've literally just acquired, and go start a real conversation today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on The Explainer. Keep learning, keep leveling up, and I will see you next time.